Linebacker was always destined to be a significant area of need for the Eagles this offseason, but it has been for quite some time now. Outside of Jordan Hicks, the Eagles really haven't invested significant draft capital into the position in quite some time, with the last second round pick or above being Michael Kendricks all the way back in 2012. It was a little surprising when it was reported then that the Eagles would indeed part ways with Nigel Bradham, opting against picking up the club option of a linebacker that has been a mainstay on the roster since the arrival of Jim Schwartz in 2016. The team do net a cap saving of around $4.5 million, and how that will be spent is anyone's guess. But what we do know for sure is that the position right now is on its bare bones, and it is going to need a significant injection of talent if it is to improve on what was lackluster play in 2019. But how should the Eagles go about doing that? Do we look to the draft? Do we go to free agency? Or do they pursue trades? This video will take a look at 5 of the top free agents available to the Philadelphia Eagles that fit exactly what they want out of their linebackers. So sit down, buckle up, and join us as we go on the next stop on our free agency tour with the 5 names you need to know about. But before we get into it though, guys, congratulations on being drafted with the 21st overall pick in this year's draft. You, yes you, sat there watching this right now, are our shiny new wide receiver, filling our need for speed, and we're just going to be slinging you content all day long. All we need you to do is catch that subscribe touchdown. Join our community, subscribe to the channel. We're going to give you as much Eagles content as you can handle this offseason. But before we actually dive into the free agents, it's important to note what the Eagles already have on their roster. And this is how their depth chart currently looks. TJ Edwards is currently the Eagles' only middle linebacker, and although he did show a lot of promise in 2019 in sporadic instances as a rookie, I'm not sure he'd be ready to come through as a fully fledged starter just yet. He's at least going to need some competition. Alex Singleton and Duke Riley man the outside linebacker spot, but both of them make up what's become a very strong linebacking special teams corps under Dave Phipps. Singleton brought that prowess from Canada, and Riley was traded for that specific reason, so it's fair to assume they're not going anywhere. That leaves it with the perplexing Nate Gary, who appears to be an outside linebacker, but there have been murmurs of him moving to middle, which would see yet another bulk up. He already bulked up 20 pounds, moving from safety to outside linebacker, another 20. It's a tough transition to make. We've seen him make some great plays, we've seen him make some bad misses. I'm not sure they want to hang their hat on him just yet, despite his tackling proficiency. A lot of those were inflated. And then the wild card here is Camu Grugier-Hill, who is also an outside linebacker, but is a pending free agent. Now, the Eagles may use the $4.5 million saved from Nigel Bradham to invest in Camu Grugier-Hill, but at the same time, they may not. So it's at least worth noting he's currently in the picture, but may not be for much longer. So the team ideally need a new Mike. They need someone to take over that reign from Jordan Hicks, to be the coverage prowess linebacker, to pick off passes, to bat them down, to hold guys accountable, and to be a real leader of the defense over the middle. As for the outside linebackers, they do have a lot of high upside talent there, but they may seek some higher tier free agents to come in and really boost the position. First on the list, and probably most expensive here, is going to be Cory Littleton from the Los Angeles Rams, who has had an absolutely astonishing run of form over the last couple of years. He broke out in 2018, but followed that up 1 year later with 134 tackles and 2 interceptions. He's actually Pro Football Focus's 6th best defensive free agent and has a 90.6 coverage grade over the last 2 seasons, ranking 3rd best in the league. Now, Littleton isn't a run defender. He is a true pass coverage middle linebacker, someone that would really excel in taking over that Jordan Hicks role that the team struggled to fill after he departed. Littleton is arguably the best off-the-ball linebacker available in this free agency class, and he moves so well in open space. His awareness and instincts constantly show up on film. No matter which game you're watching, he's gonna be around the ball. There were many times where he was on the field as the sole linebacker because the Rams ran a lot of nickel and dime personnel, but he held down the middle of the field so damn well and impressively. Whether it was against Christian McCaffrey against the Panthers in week 1 or against some of the heavier running backs later in the season, he didn't shy away from contact. He always wanted to play the run. Even though it's not his grandest area, he scrapes very well, doesn't get washed out, and tackles about as securely as you could ask for. But it's his willingness to win on every single play that really shines. You can see him swimming through open space so effortlessly with his eyes locked on the quarterback, using his body to feel his way, see what players are around him, and instinctively go towards the target. It's very rarely he gets caught off guard because of this. He maintains a solid amount of depth when he's playing in zone and has no problem picking tight ends up and moving down the field with them. Littleton would be a dream scenario. He's going to command a monumental payday, and is it one the Eagles should make if he does get out of LA? That's a question you're going to have to weigh up when you've got guys like Byron Jones also hitting free agency, but I wouldn't be opposed to it if I heard that the Eagles had come in, made an offer, and were going to pay Cory Littleton big bucks. He's deserving of every single one of them and lives up to every single bit of the hype. Next up on the list is a real film crush of mine, and it's Joe Schobert from the Browns. The guy is a tackling monster. He's got 408 tackles in his first 4 years alone, and just for the record, no Eagles linebacker has ever had that many tackles in the first 4 years of their NFL career. He's also got 6 interceptions, led the league in tackles in 2017, and although he did have 16 missed tackles, I mean, the fact he's got so many made kind of balances out. So why do I love Joe Schobert? Well, similar to Littleton, he is just an absolute behemoth when it comes to coverage. Hips are so fluid when he's playing in zone and positions himself so well, moving along and adjusting to what the quarterback's looking at accordingly. He's able to filter through the holes when playing run defense, and although it's not like Littleton his biggest strength, it's certainly serviceable. The Browns also use him as a stand-up defensive end at times as well, and he can be effective from that, which gives the Eagles a little bit of versatility. We know they like to try this with Jannard Avery, who they also traded for from the Cleveland Browns at the end of last year. But I think more than anything, it's just the speed and the instinct, like whether it's blitzing, whether he's asked to come down as a defensive end, penetrate on run defense, or simply just hover over the middle and take away a tight end. He moves so well, so instinctively, and he's always around the catch point. He's basically just a heavy safety playing over the middle, which I think at this stage is exactly what the Eagles need. Schobert would be cheaper than Littleton, but I do think he could be a fantastic alternative if he doesn't get out of LA or does get snapped up by someone else in what's assumed to be quite a competitive market. We're going to move to outside linebacker now, and a guy that has a connection to a newly signed member of the Eagles coaching staff in the way of DB coach Markin Manuel. Devondre Campbell of the Atlanta Falcons has been an absolute beast over the last couple of years. He had 129 tackles in 2019 and really exploded as a reliable force on the outside, and similar to Schobert, was used in a variety of ways. You can see him lining up at the line of scrimmage at an extra pass rusher, you can see him dropping back into coverage, and the one thing I do want to point out is that he's not the quickest guy. He's not a sideline to sideline rangy linebacker that's going to be sweeping up and containing players such as Christian McCaffrey. However, what you do get from Devondre Campbell is someone that when playing downhill, when keeping guys ahead of him, is a monster. He reads the eye of a quarterback very well, positions himself brilliantly in zone coverage, but has a lot of patience. And that's the one thing that separates him from a few of the other linebackers in this video, is so many play this 50-50 game of either diving into a gap or shooting for a tackle that you can miss. You don't see that from Campbell. He's very much one of the more conserved linebackers here. He's got a bigger, stockier frame, squares his shoulders well before leveraging tackles, and knows how to maneuver himself in open space because he doesn't have the speed to recover if he makes an error. So what you do see is someone maybe dropping a little bit deeper, opening his hips earlier, but keeping his eyes firmly on where the quarterback's going. Now this can come back to hurt him occasionally, but I think the variety of ways you can use a talent like Campbell would be really beneficial to an Eagles team that is constantly finding ways to get their pass rush home. Like, look at what they did with Nigel Bradham last year, where they were constantly shadowing him over the line of scrimmage. That's the sort of thing you could see Devondre Campbell doing here. He shouldn't command a hefty payday, or at least as one as big as someone like Cory Littleton, and he could be a more attainable target. While he's not the most prolific linebacker here or have the most athletic skill set, he does have a very strong tackling resume and brings a very high football IQ, and I think that could benefit this team. Another film crush of mine is Nick Kwiatkowski, someone that is just relentless in his play, and I think could be a real steal in the free agent market. It reminds me very much value-wise of LJ Fort, someone that had previously not been a starter, had to build his way back up after being a perennial special teamer to come on a late surge due to injuries at the end of 2019, proving that he can belong as a starter in this Chicago Bears defense. 76 tackles, 3 sacks, and a safety, and a pick to his name in 2019. And it is worth noting that the Eagles were actually really high on him in their pre-draft process. Now, unlike the other linebackers in this draft so far for the most part, he is a very strong run defender, and you can see him just diagnose runs and shoot gaps. It is mesmerizing to watch. He moves so quickly, shoots so fast, and more importantly can shed blocks. He's not going to get washed away, he's not going to get lost in the shuffle. He filters through, finds the running back, and just homes in like a missile. Not only that, but he's strong in coverage as well. He's got the speed, he's got the awareness, and the requisite functional strength to hold his own against some of those bigger players. Like that game against the Cowboys may be one of the best I've seen from a linebacker all season. The way he can key in on assignments, in that rep against Jason Witten where he's got his eyes on the quarterback, but just using his hands to feel his way down the route, despite the tight end naturally making an inherent adjustment to his quarterback. That wasn't part of the script, that wasn't the route, but Kwiatkowski kept it quiet nonetheless. If you're looking for bang for your buck and the Eagles don't want to see themselves making the same mistake they made with LJ Fort last year, then the fact that you can see Kwiatkowski line over a B gap and immediately shoot the A, realizing where the running back is going, it's absolutely outstanding, and I think he'll be a great addition to this defense. My final linebacker to note here is actually my favorite, and he's probably going to be the cheapest as well. He is a former special teams ace, a former journeyman, Kevin Pierre-louis from the Chicago Bears. Someone that had an absolute breakout in 2019 with injuries ravaging their linebacker unit. He jumped up, had 37 tackles in a season where he had 3 starts and 3 pass breakups to his name. He does remind me actually a lot of Camu Grugier-Hill, quicker linebacker, but you really see the value here on blitzes and as a run defender. He sifts through traffic like a sniffer dog. This is one of the more impressive run defenders that I've seen when evaluating potential free agents. He penetrates really well, he sheds blocks even better, but it's that nose for the ball. If a back cuts back, he's already on it and wrapping his arm around him. It's really, really impressive, and as a run defender, as a potential Sam linebacker, there's a lot of potential here. Now, I don't think he's going to come in and be a starter. If the team do keep Grugier-Hill, he'd give him a run for his money. But I think if they move on from KGH, this is a suitable double-barreled surname replacement. We can keep the 3-letter abbreviation. He's cheap, he's cheerful, he's young, he's very athletic, he scrapes very well, and this is a big-time run defender that you could partner with someone like a Joe Schobert or a Cory Littleton. But what do you think, guys? Let me know who you want the Eagles to sign from this free agency class down in the comments below. Thank you for taking time out of your day, as always, to watch this video. From myself, Liam Jenkins, I'll see you soon.